I feel like everybody feels like, they should be on the team, and if you ask anybody on the team, would they feel like they belong, in their own eyes. So
when it comes to the 3s and 4s that you're playing with that aren't going to be on the squad and not going to make the team, give your quarterback a chance. Okay, you know what? You know they can't hold up that long? Let's play quick game. Let's play quick game just to get Shedeur in the goddamn rhythm. But no, you come out calling regular offensive plays that are very long, damn near play action.
When they're at practice, ShedeurSanders is not their priority. When he is at practice, he was staying hours beforehand, leaving hours later.
Last night was a night no one saw coming. ShedeurSanders, the player so many believed could carry the future on his shoulders, stumbled in a way that left the entire stadium stunned. You could see it written all over his face after the match, broken, frustrated, and fighting doubts that had never been there before. Kevin Stefanski's relentless pressure seemed to turn our star boy into the punchline, slowly chipping away at the confidence that had once been his greatest strength. For the first time, it looked like Shedeur wasn't just battling his opponents on the field, he was battling himself. In an emotional post-game moment, Shedeur opened up to the media. He took full responsibility for what happened, never shying away from accountability. But anyone watching closely could see that the weight of the night had settled deep inside him. He admitted he still belongs in that locker room and promised to put in the work to prove it. And yet, there was no denying it. Stefanski had managed to crack a piece of his spirit. Before we dive deeper into the details of what really went down and how Shedeur responded, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. Your support not only helps this channel grow, but also shows Shedeur that the fans still have his back.
All of our players, Mary Kay, there's things that we can do better, and there's some good moments out there, but that's what our job as coaches.
Stefanski, meanwhile, stood firm in his defense of the team's performance, placing the blame squarely on Shedeur's shoulders. When pressed about why Shedeur had been limited to reps with the 3rd and 4th string players all week, and whether that lack of exposure to the starters might have led to his struggles, Stefanski wouldn't concede an inch. Rather than admitting that first-team practice could have better prepared the rookie, he waved the idea aside. His only explanation was that his job as coach is to develop rookies. But is that really development? Or is it neglect? Holding a prospect back from meaningful reps, then tossing him into a live situation to run plays he's never rehearsed, feels less like coaching and more like sabotage. To make matters worse, Stefanski didn't shield Shedeur from the fallout. He practically handed him over to it, allowing him to become the punchline in front of everyone watching. The narrative that emerged wasn't of a young quarterback learning through mistakes, but of one being thrown under the bus. And looking back, it seems more like a disaster carefully set in motion. Stephen A. Smith's words from Shedeur's preseason debut echo louder now than ever. The Browns were setting up ShedeurSanders for failure. From the absence of first-team reps to the suspect play calling, the evidence feels undeniable. The circumstances weren't built for Shedeur to succeed, but to stumble.
And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail.
Skip Bayless didn't hold back when he addressed the situation, ripping into the Browns for the way they've managed ShedeurSanders. He described their approach as the absolute worst way to handle a young quarterback, stressing that this wasn't just about one bad night. It was part of a troubling trend. Time and again, Bayless argued, Stefanski and the Browns have mishandled Shedeur, stripping him of the support and opportunities that a player in his position desperately needs.
I'm outraged, I'm sickened, and I'm saddened by the way Shedeur continues to be treated in the National Football League, now by those sorry-ass Browns and sorry-ass Kevin Stefanski. So,
even with all the chaos surrounding him, ShedeurSanders never once pointed fingers or placed blame on his coach or teammates. Instead, he shouldered the responsibility for what happened and kept the focus on himself. He admitted that there are still many aspects of his game that need sharpening, and emphasized his determination to keep grinding and getting better. Rather than dwelling on the setback or letting it define him, Shedeur framed it as a chance to learn, grow, and come back stronger. His response showed maturity beyond his years, a mindset built on accountability and resilience.
I think I had a decent performance. Yeah. I think, it's a lot of areas I can improve in, in different things, but I'm going out there to compete the best I can.
Do you feel like
ShedeurSanders handled the aftermath with the poise of someone far beyond his years. He openly admitted where he went wrong, pointing out that he should have kept his eyes in the right places during those plays and made quicker, smarter choices to keep the offense alive. He didn't try to deflect or share the blame. He owned it completely. Every sack, he said, was on him, a sign of just how seriously he takes his role. That level of honesty and accountability reflected a deep understanding of the game and a genuine willingness to grow from the experience.
No, I gotta watch the film, honestly. I can't say what it was. It's definitely different places where I could got my eyes in better spots and got to the progressions quicker and regardless of anything, so all those sacks, they definitely on me.
But while Shedeur put the blame on himself, many analysts see the situation from a very different angle. They argue that the real problem stems from Stefanski's handling of the rookie. Chad Ocho Cinco Johnson was especially vocal, pointing out that Stefanski threw Shedeur into a lineup surrounded by offensive players who likely won't even make the final roster. In Ocho's eyes, that decision alone doomed the outcome before the game even started. He even went as far as to say that if you placed Tom Brady in that exact same scenario, the result wouldn't have looked much different. With that level of support, or lack thereof, Shedeur never stood a chance. For these analysts, the responsibility doesn't sit on Shedeur's shoulders at all. It sits squarely on the coaching staff that failed to put him in a position to succeed.
Shedeur, just speed your process up. Yes, the offensive line wasn't adequate. Yes, the receivers. Give him the plays that you gave him against Carolina. Let him get the ball out of his hands. Let in a situation like that, you let the offense, you let the receivers help you. You put the ball in their hands and says, okay, son, go get 4-5 yards out the catch.
Ocho Cinco went a step further, warning that the critics would inevitably come out in full force. He predicted that people would start labeling ShedeurSanders as a bust, dismissing him as nothing more than a fifth-string quarterback. But Ocho stressed that those same voices would completely ignore the bigger picture. Who actually put Shedeur in that position to begin with? He explained that the negativity isn't really about Shedeur's talent, but more about a narrative designed to drag him down. According to Ocho, no matter what Shedeur does, there will always be those eager to tear him apart rather than acknowledge the unfair circumstances that shaped his performance.
We see it clear as day, but they just on it. Oh, he played bad. He's ass. He sucked. He's a fifth rounder. He's not that good. Well, of course, yes, based on what you saw today, but we're trying to tell you why it looked that way.
When you take in everything that's unfolded around ShedeurSanders, the lack of first-team reps, the questionable coaching decisions, and the criticism that followed, it paints a picture much bigger than one rough outing. Shedeur showed accountability, owning mistakes that weren't entirely his fault, displaying a level of maturity rare for a rookie. Analysts, however, have been quick to highlight that this situation wasn't about a young quarterback failing to deliver, but about a coach putting him in a position where success was nearly impossible. Ocho Cinco's words ring especially true. No matter how unfair the setup, some critics will jump at the chance to label Shedeur as a failure, ignoring the deeper truth of what really happened. What stands out most, though, is Shedeur's resilience. Instead of folding under the weight of the moment, he embraced responsibility and turned his focus toward growth. That kind of mindset can't be overlooked. It's the trait of someone built for the long haul. The real question now is whether the Browns, and Stefanski in particular, will give him the support and opportunity he deserves. Because if they don't, the NFL might soon realize they mishandled a player who had the potential to be truly special. What do you think about the way this entire situation has been handled? Was ShedeurSanders really to blame for what happened on the field, or was he simply put in a position where failure was inevitable? Do you agree with Ocho Cinco and other analysts who believe the coaching staff is at fault? Or do you think Shedeur still has to shoulder most of the responsibility? And most importantly, how do you see his future unfolding if things continue this way? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. We'd love to hear what you have to say.